where I went and got a master's degree in development policy and practice. So I can turn any theory into practice. Somebody was asking me, how did you manage to mobilize all these people? I told him, if I had stood as an MP for this area, you would be surprised. I would get 99% and people would wonder how I've gotten the votes. So I can turn theory into practice. So one day when I dreamt, but it's not dreaming, but it's a provocation, but in a good way, in a positive manner. At one time, His Excellency the President paid a visit to one of our farmers in Ndangaro. All of you are aware about that story, because wherever he goes, the President talks about it. I went to Bunyaruguru. They were diplomatically poor. That the people of Bunyaruguru were diplomatically poor despite their fertile soils. So, and I have been attending meetings. The good thing is that he doesn't know that I come from Bunyaruguru. And I always hide, because he would tell me, come and tell us, how are those people who are democratically poor? Are they now, have they now come out of their democracy? So, and again, he has talked so many times about our fertile soils in Rubirizi. We may be having land fragmentation, but our soils can support anything. And it is a place that is endowed with natural resources. We have over 35 lakes, crater lakes, of all features. Transparent, in the shape of Africa, twin lakes, mention it. They are all here. So, and yet, we have not gained a lot from those lakes. Actually, at one time I was arguing with the chairman, LC5, and others and the councillors, that now Bunyaruguru had a history of why it was called Bunyaruguru. But they called our district Rubirizi. Rubirizi has no historical origin. And when you mention Rubirizi, everybody starts wondering, okay, now you have called it Rubirizi, and we cannot go back to Bunyaruguru. At least you add the word Lake District. Rubirizi Lake District. Whoever will read it will know that this is a Lake District, and it will attract tourists to come here. But I don't know what people discuss in their council, but that's a story for another day. So this is how Ripa started. So I dreamt about this dream of coming and working for the people, because one of the things, the problem with me, I normally bluntly talk. So when I talk and tell the people that I want to teach you how to fish, but not to give you a fish, then they say that I'm abusing them. That me, I abuse people, that they are poor, and I want to get them out of poverty. But it is true. People are really not okay. So I said, let's start something that we can work with people. You know, all this labor that is redundant, for if we could really try to put it into production, I think the production levels would go up. But the young men and women normally wake up, and some of them are just seated at the trading centers, and there is nothing much they are adding into production. But if you can work together, possibly we would utilize that labor and get something out of it. So when I got this dream, I conceptualized it, and I realized it was a very big dream. But I said I will not give up. So many people discouraged me, but I said, no, let me put it to test. And I first by hiring somebody called Joram Bamugaya to conduct for me a survey of what can be done here. And I later on hired another team of consultants whom I would like to recognize. Mr. Kachope Kato, if you could stand up. And Griffin, is she still around? Griffin, I don't know where she is. They came here and conducted a study. And I was in 2 pigs, I was in 2 what, but then they later told me that no, I think Rubirizi, the problems are these, and this is how they can be sorted out. But then later on, their studies were picked up and harmonized by Chris Akampumuza. Please, where is he? Chris Akampumuza. Akampurira. This man, of course, we worked also with Gilbert. Is Gilbert around? Yes, but this man is actually the one who has helped us to translate our ideas into practice. He's a real startup expert. He just reads your mind and he moves it the way you want it. And Chris, we are really very grateful for your work. We know you are our employee, but you have really tried to kickstart us. So all these things you are seeing is the one who has actually tried to move them from concept to practice. And today, I think he also has a lot to celebrate. Thank you, Chris, and your team. Then, of course, we started buying land here. In 2018, that's when we started buying land here and started thinking of constructing this office. And eventually, we managed to get at least 11 acres here. But of course, the land is hilly, but we tried to work with it. And then we started constructing this, and we registered our organization in 2020. And eventually, we got a board. With your permission, chairman of the board, I don't know whether you would allow me to introduce the board members. Yes. So I went and requested Dr. Yona Waguma to accept and be the board chairman of this organization, which he willingly accepted and put in writing. And he has really inspired us a lot, especially in keeping us focused. And of course, with other member of the board, Mr. Kachope Kato, Chairman Risk Committee, Mr. Vincent Nkaburwa, Mr. Patricia Tibemara, Mrs. Rotaro, I think I saw her around. Then and the district production officer, and of course the chairman LC5, Mr. Aguba Sylvester. Then there is Immaculate representing the youth on the board. Immaculate Mwarawa Godre Dawa Kumanya. So, and of course myself and Madam as the secretary of the board. So we have been working. I think we have sat, I don't know how many times, but oh, Father, yes. Father, why are you keeping? Father is also a member of the board. So we tried to balance, because we wanted to bring in the religious. I wouldn't want people from other sects of other beliefs to say, why Father? Because this organization does not have bounds, doesn't know religion. It knows religion, but all religions. So now that we have a priest on the board, tomorrow it may be a Muslim or may be from the Church of Uganda. So we keep on rotating. But we really wanted to build an institution that believes in faith, an institution that draws expertise from the community and the people who are on the ground and who are opinion leaders, and of course the government represented by the local government. But with time, we shall also bring on board the central government. So that's how Ripa started, and I can assure you, in terms of management and governance, under the leadership of Dr. Yona Waguma, we are thorough. We are thorough, and he cannot allow us to even diverge to the extent that he goes through and scans through all the minutes of the committees, and he makes sure that once he leaves us with milestones. The moment we sit, we start working on the milestones he has left us with. But I'm glad each time we meet, he gives us excellent. So I would like to thank the management led by this young lady as a programs coordinator. I think she has a wonderful team, and they are doing a very great job. And we are going to do, as you have seen, by the way, what you are seeing here is beyond Bunyaruguru. What we are building is a national institution. It is not a Bunyaruguru-based institution. So for those of you who are thinking that I am building this because I want to stand in politics, you are very far away from my thinking. We are building a national program. And I would like to tell you, within our lifetime, this mustard seed we have seen today, in a very, 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 very short while, you will see it spreading all over the country. Because the model is very well crystallized, is very well diagnosed, is very well studied, and we are very willing to learn from our mistakes. We are very willing to take all the risks, but we are determined to achieve what we are pursuing. And the dream I have with my wife is that at one time, this organization called Ripa is owned by the farmers, not ourselves. If that dream can be achieved, then we shall have lived a very meaningful and positive life, and I'm sure God will forgive us for some of the sins we committed while on earth. How do we intend to do it? We are going to give people cows. Those people we are giving cows are going to transform into a circle of cow farmers, or a cooperative union of cow farmers. Much as we cluster them in a cluster of 10-10, they will eventually be in hundreds, but being a cluster of cow farmers having their own circle. Of course, these are my ideas, but they are subject to the board. Because you know, everything you think about, you take it to the board. Then the board either throws it away, but this is the dream I have. We shall also have a cooperative for chicken farmers. We have a cooperative for goat farmers. We have a cooperative for, you have heard my sister from NADS talking about hash avocados. We have a cooperative for hash avocado farmers. So that eventually those farmers, we shall encourage them to save and actually attract them possibly to turn this Ripa, which is an NGO non-for-profit, because it cannot have shares, but at least, or maybe we have Ripa commercial, which can own, where they can own shares, so that eventually we sit on the table, we discuss, and they own shares in this Ripa, and it becomes their lifetime investment. But it must first prove that it is a worthwhile investment, and that's what we are trying to chase. So another thing we are trying to do is to try as much as possible to rely on collaborations and partnerships. You have had here NADS, you have had SNV, you have had DDA, you have had my brother commissioner. You have not talked. I don't know, you should also come and promise before you go, so that you can also, we see how we are going to relate with local government. My friend, Hanfred, come and tell people how we are to go, how we are going to relate with Bazungu EV. Come and tell people. How we are going to relate with Bazungu EV. Tell these people that you are going to support Ripa, as you have already started.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I have to press anything?
No, you just talk.
Okay, I just talk. So, me, I'm a German by nationality, and one of my functions is to be the chairperson of Bazungu EV. Yeah? Those ones who don't know about Germany, that is a land where the sun is ever cold, which was described by one of our trainees in early 20 years ago. So me, myself, I'm a German by nationality and a Ugandan by marriage. And I thank my wife very much for supporting me in all our collaborative work we are doing for Uganda. So the first steps in the work with Uganda are approximately 30 years ago. You see, I'm already very old. And actively, I'm working with Bazungu EV since 21 years, active in Uganda. We have a memorandum of understanding with President's office, and my profession is to work in eye care. So, but me, I'm coming from an area in Germany, which is even an agriculture area. When I was approximately 8 years, you see, that's for minimum 20 years ago, I was milking cows with my own hands. And we had a stand like it is actually in Uganda. Recently, Vincent was in Germany to visit us there. And I think because I'm working now in eye care and not anymore milking cows, they implemented robots for milking our cows. Yeah? So Vincent had seen all those things, and the technologies in our area developed very much. And we are willing to sign a memorandum of understanding on two bases via Bazungu IV and Ripa. One, to bring technologies in agriculture to Uganda, to Ripa. And secondly, from my profession, that was what we did yesterday at the hospital grade 4, that we are implementing eye care, proper eye care in this area. That's what we are doing on national base with the President's office.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Hanfred. This is the man behind the equipments we received yesterday at our LOC, Health Center 4, Rogazi. He gave us equipments worth 65 million Uganda shillings. So, ninyenda kwebaza abataka bali Kibagane abatwakira omwanya ogu. You see, this place is about 11 acres, but we bought land from, I think, 18 families. You can see how dangerous land fragmentation is. To raise 11 acres in Rubirizi, we had to buy land from 18 families. So that one gives you the picture. Where I am staying the other side, you know, there we bought, we have 10 acres, but we bought them from about 14 families. So you can clearly see what it means by land here. So the only way we can make our communities survive is really to get into smart agriculture and involve them, train them, give them the skills on how they can survive amidst that challenge, because we don't want them to go away. So, and I believe this is what Ripa has come to do, and we shall struggle, we shall work with them and raise rare chicken with them, rare goats with them. We shall even teach them on how to do smart growing of mushrooms, as long as we can find the market for them. So this is all that what Ripa intends to do. So without wasting a lot of time, allow me to introduce a very few people who are here. Of course, I will begin with the guest of honor, David Wazemba. Is a distinguished man who is a country director of Agora Uganda, and is the chairman of the Agriculture Development Partners group in Uganda. He'll say much about that. But of course, Doctor, our invitation to you, to invite you to come here is really strategic. We saw your strategic chair and desk, and we said you are the right person to deal with. Now that you have seen how we have started, and you have seen our challenges, and you have also recognized our strength, please lead us to those right people to deal with, so that we can bring as many partners as possible. You will also again allow me to introduce the chair, because when he comes to give his speech, he will certainly not talk about his CV. Dr. Yona Waguma is a distinguished scientist who has been in NARO. Actually, the success of NARO, National Agricultural Research Organization of Uganda, is because of that man. So he has already fronted us to sign an MOU with NARO in 10 areas of research, dissemination of research. You have heard, is one of his directors who was here, what he was talking about. They have even already given us the you call them what? The tubes for, the straws for insemination. So you can see Ripa is not a Bunyaruguru affair. So these guys who are looking at Ripa, Bunyaruguru, you are just really misguided. If you don't have don't want the cows, we are going to take them to other areas. Allow me also to introduce my mother. She's a Buddhist. James had introduced her. She traveled all the way from Fort Portrush in Georgia, where she lives. She's here. I'm her firstborn. You can now gauge my age. Of course, she must have produced me when she was above 18. So if I'm the firstborn, I'm also tending there. Of course, I have my brothers here. Chris, where is? Yeah, he's our elder brother. Our father is sick, but is improving. This is our elder brother. Among my brothers, I have James here also, who is the director of ceremonies, and Ernest Mwebesa, who is an accountant with the Ministry of Education. I have my elder brother, also my cousin brother to Pascal Adinkai, and of course my big brother Tuarebero, is the honorable former MP of this area, Charles Zeraba.